guys, welcome back to yet another fantastic game in the round 3 of the FIDE Olympiad in Budapest 2024. Here we are going to be looking at a game between Wesley and Aikadij. And this game is very interesting because it features an Italian like at least I have never seen before. And it features a mistake that, I don't know, the computer called it a mistake, but I think it's an outright blunder. It is one single move that completely loses the game. Let's jump right into the game without much ado. Wesley opens here with e4, and his opponent goes e5. We have knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, knight f6. Wesley goes d3 here. We have bishop e7. So all of these are standard moves we have seen before. The two knights game in the Italian. Knight c3, castles, a3. All of these have been played before. Lots and lots of games in the database. Bishop e3. And in this position, Wesley's opponent goes knight d7. Now, this move is a very rare move. In fact, in the database, there is only one game where this position was reached between 2200s. Knight d7 was played, and in that game, the player with the white pieces just castled here. The player with the white pieces just castled. But in this game, Wesley goes bishop a2, and it is now, as of move 8, that we have a completely new game. The game would continue with knight b6. Generally, I would think that the reason why Aikadij here decided to go knight d7 was because he wants to play a quick f5 maybe, but he did not even play f5 at all. He just reroutes the knight this way. Now, people that play the Italian, you remember that we usually have this knight on this square for white sometimes in the game, and we would have this setup but over here with the black pieces. So that's a common theme: two knights on this side of the board, or two knights on this side of the board. So this setup is kind of interesting to see in the Italian. Wesley, I guess he considered this position and he decided, wait a second, can I not just attack? And he begins to reroute his knight straight away. There was a trade of bishops and Wesley goes h4, basically signaling here that he's just going to attack, right? He's just going to attack Aikadij here. Aikadij strikes in the center immediately. Wesley reroutes his knight to this part of the board. And it was in this position, I think after h6 from Aikadij and knight g1 from Wesley, you just see Wesley dancing with the pieces here while he prepares to launch his attack. I think it was around this position, Aikadij went king h8, Wesley developed his queen to g4. And here, Aikadij played a very interesting move. And I'll allow you find the move. If you are playing with the black pieces in this position, the game is just about balanced right now. What move will you play? You have the black pieces, you are Aikadij, you have this position. There's a queen on this file, there's a rook on this file. There are knights that can jump, even sacrifice themselves. These knights can literally sacrifice themselves on the g5 square. What will you play in this position? A lot of you may be considering a lot of moves. Some persons want to go queen e8 to try to counter this queen, or have something on the queen side, on the king side here. At least a number of persons, maybe you want to play king d7, basically defend the pawn that is hanging. Maybe you want to play d takes, just open up the center and say, oh, your king is in the center of the board, I'm going to open the center and attack. In this position, Wesley So's opponent Aikadij played the move knight d4. Knight d4. The computer calls this move a mistake, but immediately this move was played in the game, I was not sure what was going on. I thought, okay, the knight is defended, Wesley can take, but it's just going to be a trade. He's going to lose that pawn though, but I wasn't sure what was going on here. And then I looked at the eval bar, and the game was effectively lost. It is almost a +2 advantage for white in this position. Wesley took a 10 minutes or so I think, and he grabbed the pawn. Of course, great move. Bishop takes d4, Aikadij recaptures, and from here on, the attack begins. There's literally no way to defend that pawn. He didn't even try. And look at this. The cavalry is arriving. You have to start defending. Wesley keeps pushing that pawn up the board, making sure that Aikadij is going to be completely squeezed. He has to give up the rook because, well, you cannot retreat the bishop, right? Maybe you can bring the bishop here, then you're just going to kick it again. But you cannot go here with the bishop. If you go here with the bishop, oops, it's checkmate, mate in one. So what to do? He has to sack the rook, give up the rook. But now there is an open G file for Wesley to work with. Aikadij grabbed the pawn. Well, for now, the bishop kind of supports. Again, Wesley kicks back that bishop and brings the rook to the open file. In Aikadij plays bishop f8 here, trying to hold on desperately for dear life. But I think Wesley, I feel somehow that Wesley was upset about drawing the game on the first round of the tournament. So maybe Wesley was not interested in any excuses. He didn't want his opponent to have any breathing room at all. So Wesley moved his king here. When I was watching the game, I thought Wesley was going to castle long, which was actually the best move in the position. But he moved his king here to opponent. Aikadij brings the queen closer, and Wesley brings the second rook into the game. I'm thinking, okay, maybe he wants the second rook to come, maybe capture on this square, something, right? Aikadij brings his rook, and Wesley offers the queen trade. This is a great move in this position. You're completely winning. You offer the queen trade. If the queens are traded, you immediately put pressure on this pawn. There's no way to defend that pawn. If you push it, you just capture, and the endgame will be completely winning for Wesley. So Aikadij declines the trade, but then Wesley just continues to burrow down f5. If you take, he's going to trade the rooks or trade the queens, win the pawn is the same thing, right? You just queen takes, rook takes, capture. It's difficult. So Aikadij decides to trade the queens here and tries to push this pawn forward. Maybe he can create a pass pawn in the middle of the board, but that is not happening. Wesley immediately goes to trade off the rooks. Aikadij says no, he loses the pawn. Wesley goes check, and the rest is basic. He just moves the king out of the way, brings his rook to the f8 square. Look at this king. This king is very uncomfortable. If he trades off a pair of rooks here, the game is lost. Aikadij moved this king up the board, but there was nothing more he could do. And Wesley goes rook e7. And it was in this position on move 35 that Aikadij Nadish resigned the game because there's basically nothing to be done here. What are you going to play? You can play c5. The computer says you should play c5, and then he just doubles up here. And what are you doing with this seventh rank? There's almost a checkmating attack against the black king in this position, and there's almost nothing you can do about it. So Wesley gets his first win in the Olympiad 2024 in the third round of the event against Aikadij Nadish. I think the US, I think Fabiano probably won his game. I have to look at the game between with Fabian Caruana now, and Levon Aronian would also go ahead to win his game. This third round is crazy. The best players from every single country are playing right now. So that tells you that the Olympiad has entered the most serious gear. Of course, we had world champion Magnus Carlsen. We have Ding Liren, current world champion, playing as well in today's event. And hey, I'm here for it. It's going to be an exciting 45th FIDE championships. And we are all here to enjoy, to see the brilliancies that come out of this event, to enjoy the game for sure. And I will see you guys in the next game. Like, hit the subscribe button, recommend interesting games from the FIDE Olympiads. I want to see them. I want to study them. I want to learn from them as well. Until next time, I'll see you guys soon. Keep killing it. Keep playing good chess.